Sheriff, you recently got invited to a UF basketball game. Is this true?
Yeah, I did.
Tell me about this.
Yeah,
this is exciting. I assume it's exciting, but I don't know any of the details on it.
So actually, I'm going to back up a little bit. When we had our officer-involved shooting up in Nocatee, Kendall and I that day were heading over to the University of Florida to be honored at the beginning of the game at midfield by the Florida Gators and by ViStar. So we were physically on the way there, and believe it or not, they were actually playing Arkansas for that game too as well.
Okay.
So we were there on the way there, and of course, our officer-involved shooting occurred at Nocatee, so we did a U-turn, of course, and went and supported our community and our agency. So the funny thing was, a lot of people in St. Johns County, were like, "Where are you at? We see you on the big." So they had a big screen presentation, and of course the stadium was full, playing Arkansas SEC game, and everybody was texting, "Where are you at? I see you on the field." We weren't even there. So University of Florida felt bad, so they did it again for us, against Arkansas at the beginning of the game last weekend over at University of Florida.
Okay.
And a sold-out crowd, just over 10,000 people in there, and they honored my wife and I, for our military service in the beginning of the game, and it was awesome. Very emotional. Presented us with a game ball, and
that is so cool.
Yeah, it was very emotional, and it really took care of us. The athletic director and the assistant athletic director just really took care of us, and just a great relationship and partnership. Same thing. We were on the court this time, and people are texting, our sheriffs here in Gainesville. So just powerful that University of Florida would recognize us for our military service and our law enforcement service, but it was really honed in on the military service. So yeah, it was emotional. They took good care of us, and again, just recognize, and of course my wife too, for her sacrifices when I spent probably close to 3 years on the road for deployments, and stuff. So powerful. Yeah, powerful.
That's awesome. Yeah. Congratulations.
That's
a big deal.
It was excellent. Yeah,
it's a big deal.
Yeah, we kind of got to see behind the scenes too of the basketball game.
Yeah, what's that like?
These kids are spoiled, man.
Right?
These kids. Yeah, it's a big to do. But the band they had a big, of course, the University of Florida band is in the stadium. I mean, it was just it was a heck of they put on a heck of a show, meaning that. Of course, Florida, really wore out, Arkansas. But the whole show itself, we had heard to the grapevine, it was a big show in that stadium in there. And we hadn't been there in years for the O'Connell Center. It was powerful. Yeah. I mean, flames shooting up top of the basketball hoop with introductions.
Whoa, nice.
Yeah, and the band was phenomenal. The student section was directly across from us. That was entertaining by itself.
Oh, yeah. Wow. Boy, that student section gets into it.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, the things you hear coming from that student section during the game directed at those players on the opposing team.
Wow. Yeah.
But that's something to experience.
Great time, and we appreciate the support, University of Florida, and of course ViStar, but just a powerful night for us twice by University of Florida.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, speaking of University of Florida, you got a University of Florida legend coming to help you guys with the boxing match on February 24th.
Super excited. Brandon James, I've been friends for a long, long time, and I'll be honest with you, when this Swamp Kings came out through Netflix, I know, you know very well, but when Swamp Kings came back out, it really revitalized these University of Florida Gators, especially during that time era. Yeah. So, of course, Brandon James is a longtime friend. Of course, he's been a competitor of mine, too, as we've coached against each other for years. And he was the offensive coordinator this year for St. Augustine High School when the Jackets went all the way to the state championship under Coach Braddock. So, again, Swamp Kings really, if you haven't watched that Netflix series, really, those are a lot of local kids. Tim Tebow, Brandon James. There's some other ones in there too as well. That's some hometown kids that came from here, played sports here, went on and did great things, and continue to do great things. So he's one of our judges. Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
Awesome.
And Marcus
that is super
Pollard
cool.
Actually 2 days ago confirmed too as well.
Jaguar.
Yeah, Marcus and I are very, very close, and he was a Colt too as well, just like Brandon James. He was a Colt too as well. So and then now he's in their player development here. His son Micah is up in Michigan playing football. He came out of Bartram on the state championship team. Yeah, so just got a personal relationship with him. We became friends, and he's a phenomenal man. So we got him. We also got Ernest Wilford coming. He's a personal friend of mine. He's a former Jaguars and a Dolphins and a Jaguars where he retired.
And a great golfer, I hear, by the way, too, actually.
The guy is a phenomenal golfer. Marcus is too, I believe.
Really?
Yep. So we got those 3 Jaguars coming, and then we have Alejandre Cafe Dantes coming, who's a nationally known IBJJF master champion in jiu-jitsu. He's coming out of the Rio de Janeiro fight club down there.
Jeez.
Yeah, and then we also pulled James Singletary, who's also an IBJJF.
Wow, man.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So we pulled him, and then
if I'm sitting in the fire department, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, we pulled some heavy hitters, and we're waiting on one more UFC guy. And all these people live here, which is kind of cool.
It's wild how many people you don't even know live here in St. John's County.
And they've been huge supporters of Kendall and I, of course, and our agency, but more so they've been supportive of us in this community as we went through some difficult cases over the years since I've been the sheriff. So yeah, powerful. So we got 2 more potentially. Rashad Evans actually was in, if you know UFC champ Rashad Evans.
Sure.
He trains out of a local fight club. His brother does over in Green Cove Springs, but he is going to do he's still involved very heavily with the UFC. So he will not be here, but he may just blow into town that weekend. But we got another big neighbor that's actually still very, very involved that we're waiting on. Ken Shamrock, of course, as you know, he's now the new sponsor of the new owner of Bare Knuckles Fighting, which is taken off nationally.
Yeah.
Internationally, so they're trying to host an event around the same time period in Miami. So we're just kind of waiting on him. Yeah.
Didn't Van Strange want to take on Ken Shamrock? I thought that.
I didn't hear anything about that.
That's what
I didn't hear anything about that. I heard nothing about that. That's not in any. That's not in any plan anywhere. Nope.
Down the gauntlet.
Nope. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
That's what I heard.
Van's training though.
But going back to Brandon James, his dad is just an amazing
First class, buddy.
and his brothers play on that team.
Yeah.
So just a whole team of athletes. The 4 brothers are just all amazing athletes. So
and as you know too, Kenny Logan is also related to the Brandon James family too as well.
That's half brother.
That's
on the
his half brother, right? And Kenny, Kenny Logan, I think you're going to see him. Of course, he had a heck of a year with the Jayhawks last year in Kansas. He's number 1, meaning he wears the number 1 there, and he played another year there. Going to go higher in the draft. They had a better season this year, so they come from such
he won defensive player of the game in the bowl game.
In the bowl game, yeah, he's a stud, man. And Kenny's a Pedro kid, of course. And as you know, Brandon's a St. Augustine High kid. It's just a lot of good athletes in all these sports here in St. Johns County. So we're glad to have them there and partner up with us.
Yeah.
That's Shannon
exciting.
Miller actually was going to be in. She lives in St. Johns County too as well.
The gymnast?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's a punter beater
But they
person.
were like, it's a boxing thing. We'll bring her in for something else. So she's a personal friend of another friend of ours. So
She's incredible.
yeah, and she's still like literally a rock star in that world of gymnastics too, as far as like.
I met her eons ago. We were both at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs, and she was I was in the swimming pool, obviously, and she was in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
I wonder. Yeah, I think I have a picture
She's
of her
your local, by
somewhere.
the
If you two standing side by side,
Absolutely. And at that point, I was literally like just like $1.25 wet. Like I was like nothing.
Yeah, but
Now
you're
I'm
still like 6'5".
Yeah.
4'8",
Absolutely.
4'5".
I think I got that picture somewhere. I got to find that. That'd be cool to run into her again.
I'll get her to see you again.
I'd love to see her.
By
Yeah,
far.
that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
So anyway,
That's
we
cool.
got some, and we're willing to add some other ones too as well. Tony Baselli, of course, now he's a Hall of Famer, and you can, and I hope you're listening, Tony. But now he became a whole Hall of Famer. Rob went from like the top tier we talk weekly to now I'm at the bottom tier. I'm not a Hall of Famer with him anymore. He's a big man again.
Tony,
I hope
come
you're
on.
listening, Tony.
Yeah.
Boy, we'd love to have
Yeah.
Tony Baselli out there.
Hey.
Come on, Tony.
And we're still
on.
getting Donovan Darius.
Don't feel bad.
Donovan Darius too is
He's one of my favorite Jaguars
I'm
growing
a
up.
big Donovan Darius
One of my
fan. So him and
favorites.
I were texting, and he ghosted me for a couple days. So Ernest Warford's going to work on him.
Don't spit on me.
Ernest Warford's going to work on that one for me.
The sheriff's just
Like he was-
calling everybody out, man.
I love these guys are good to me, man. They're good to me.
Don't feel bad about Tony. Tony took me out of his phone a long time ago.
Oh, for real? What'd you do now? Good Lord.
He's a great dude, and it's when him and Mark were just finishing up their career.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a good dude.
Yeah.
So when he lost all the weight and like decided to be a triathlon is when
He's a massive man.
He's a huge man.
He's a
Yeah.
I'm just gonna guess. He's 6'6". He's got to be 6'5",
I think he's
6'6".
I think he's 6'6", 6'7".
We had him in. He came in for something at the radio station when I was working at WFOY, WAOC back in the day. And we brought him into that WAOC radio station. It was the one in the back, all the way at the end of the hall.
right,
The tiny little one. I mean, it's half the size
He's a
of this
massive
room.
man, yeah.
He didn't fit. We had to leave the door open because he didn't fit in there.
Set the chair in the doorway.
Yeah, I mean, we really did. It was-
We got a local giant here too. Justin Carter's a big boy.
He's one of the competitors for the Florida Man games.
He's either 6'5". Love you, Justin, by the way. I know you listen, but Justin is either 6'5" or 6'6". And the last time him and I were coaching together, he came out to practice one time, and I said, what are you weighing in, big boy? He's like 385. I about fell out. Fell out. And I'm not sure if you know or not, he was a mechanic on a Chinook helicopter. He's an Army vet.
Really?
He was a mechanic on a Chinook helicopter. 385.
Jeez, man.
Yeah. He was playing for the Sharks for a bit.
Yep, he was.
Year before
last season,
yeah.
season, I think year before last season.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
You got some rock stars
he's a
out there,
beast.
brother.
At that
Yeah.
size, you don't even have to block. You just have to get in the way.
385. Yeah, you stand up. Yeah. Good stuff. Anyway, sorry. Cut
Yeah.
topic.
That's exciting.
That's
Super
awesome.
exciting.
Fun
Yeah.
stuff.
We are bringing our own Hall of Famer out there to the games.
Are you
So
really?
that's not
Yep.
the big announcement.
Well, it is.
Is it?
Well,
Is it?
that's the tease for the big announcement.
Oh, here we go.
That's all we get?
That's all we get today. Yep.
Oh, everybody in comments
Yep.
is like
Hall of Famer. Hall of Famer.
Okay.
I'm going to give you a hint. Recent Hall of Famer for his college
Brian Boitano.
That's not true.
So off.
Really?
Way
Yep.
off.
Hall of Famer
And you
for
usually
his-
tell me stuff. You're not telling me stuff on purpose. Do I tell? Okay. All right. Never mind.
Nope.
All right.
Well, Brandon James is that.
Teammate of Brandon James. All right, anyway, that's way too much. That's way too much. Way too much.
Yeah, you need to stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, stop.
Way too much information.
Yeah, because I got it.
Careful.
Yep.
I'm a college fanatic.
Yeah. It's
Got
going to
it.
be great.
Okay, good
He
stuff.
recently did a Florida Man commercial on TV. It's pretty awesome. So, yeah.
All right.
So there you go.
You guys are going big time.
I
How
hope
much
that's
stuff-
enough for everybody to put the pieces together, because that's the unofficial.
Oh,
That's the
Dave.
unofficial announcement. The official announcement coming very soon.
Let's say the math is mathing, everybody.
Math is mathing.
I will tell you right now, there's a lot of diehard fans here in St. Johns County.
Yeah.
They've already figured that out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so.
I want to
Let it
show
rain.
you why.
Yeah,
Is it in
it's
the
already-
comments?
already
No, it's in
happened.
a text to me.
See, there you go. All right, hey, coming back to St. Johns County here. You guys got some new dogs walking around the jail. I love how you guys are getting the dogs involved in what you guys are doing.
Yeah.
Tell me about these new dogs and why. Why
Yeah,
you're
so this
implementing
is a
these
relatively
strategies.
new program across the United States, but unfortunately, narcotics get into our jail, and that's, again, going back to this addiction thing, where they're feeding that addiction, of course, while they're in the jail. So we've had a couple overdoses since I've been your sheriff, and we had to step it up. And we're talking, they're going through scanners. I don't need to get into specifics of where they're hiding the drugs at, but I think everybody can kind of put it together where the drugs come in. Again, you got to think addiction too as well. So with that being said, we reached out basically saying, hey, who has narcotics dog that work in the jail? And this is not to protect just my employees, 141 employees or deputy sheriffs and over 200 employees that work in the jail, but this is my inmate population because it's just that small percentage that don't abide by the rules. So that being said, we did some research out there. I kind of put my K-9 team on it. I know Sergeant McGuire and Corporal Hill have been phenomenal at this. I gave my corrections staff some direction. Next thing you know, we found 2 dogs. They're 2 GSPs, German short-hair pointers.
Cool.
They came out. They're 2 sisters that came out of Canada. They arrived here 3 weeks ago through a midnight flight over to Marion County, and then they were delivered here. We got 2 deputy sheriffs that were picked through a very hard selection process through our regular K-9 deputy sheriffs that work on the road.
Okay.
And just phenomenal. Nathan Laban was actually selected, and Deputy Nathan Laban was selected, and Deputy Ruff, it's his first name, Harris, was selected too as well.
How
That's
perfect
awesome.
is that, actually?
So the 2 little GSPs were here. I just real quick story. I usually grab a cup of coffee in the morning time before the sun comes up and just do a perimeter, walk of my jail just to see if I see something that our deputies haven't seen. And anyway, so the dogs had just flown in the night before, and they were actually in the yard right across the street here playing with their handlers, and they were off the chain. They were jumping. There was no discipline. I'm like, this is not going to be good.
Well, they're Canadian. They're
Yeah.
seeing Florida for the first
No,
time.
they're Canucks dogs. I didn't think about that. They're Canucks. Yeah. Anyway, so yesterday I surprise visited them. We have a great partnership with Billy Woods and Marion County Sheriff's Office. They are doing the same exact thing at the same exact time. One of the best trainers probably in the country, Jay Nix, is one of their deputies. He's training those dogs over there. So it's an 8 to 12 week process. But we went there yesterday and visited, just an impromptu visit without them knowing they were doing jail cells. And their jail is probably 3 times, 4 times the size of ours. And our 2 dogs were just disciplined. I mean, it was a different dog from 3 weeks ago. And I can show you videos, of course. I took some videos. So anyways,
Cool.
they'll be up and running here in about 8 to 12 weeks. The goal will be to all the properties of the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office will have these 2 narcotic dogs working there.
All right.
Of course, very unorthodox shifts, but opposite of each other. But the primary, of course, is the jail, the booking area. And of
Who
course,
takes care of them?
so these are 2 regular St. Johns County Sheriff's Office deputies. So they'll go home with their handlers.
Cool.
Yep,
Okay.
Yep, they will. Yeah.
So what, not like Sandy? Is it Sandy a
No,
little bit different?
yeah, Sandy's the therapy dog along with Simba. Those are 2 therapy dogs. So they're not, I hate to say this, but they're not sworn in as deputy sheriffs. These 2 dogs will be deputy.
So they're like little
Raven and
sheriffs.
Cora.
Little sheriffs.
Raven
yeah.
and Cora.
Okay.
Yeah, so
They're,
they'll be,
they're civilians.
Yeah.
Safety
patrol,
And these are
yeah.
going to be deputy sheriffs. So we'll physically
Okay.
swear these dogs in once they pass the
Wow,
training.
that's cool.
Yeah, so
There
the
you
goal
go.
is, of course, this
Raise
isn't...
your right paw.
Yeah, the public can do it for goodness sakes.
Yeah, right? You gotta teach them that.
Yeah, super excited. So again, this is, and I'm not a big fan of stacking charges on people. Let's go ahead and if we find some drugs, and let's give them the alternative. If you got it on you, get it out. Let's get rid of it, and then we don't add additional introduction of contraband into an inmate facility. We know it's an addiction issue. So with that being said, they should be on the ground literally here within the next month or 2 at the most. Yeah. So Cora and Raven are welcome to their family.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
It always just stands out to me, your compassion for people, whether
Right.
it's your deputy sheriffs, whether it's the inmates in your jail.
Yep.
I mean, you you care about people. How's the sheriff's office changed over the last few years since you've been sheriff?
Everything changes, of course, with leadership. Everything changes with, society too as well, and kind of what the focus is now in society. And the focus in society now, of course, is mental health and addiction and getting people back on their feet. And with that being said, it's something I wanted to do. Of course, I started my career in corrections 30 years ago or 29 years ago. And with that being said, I saw things in corrections. I was like, we're not doing anything to get anybody better. Matter of fact, we're probably making them worse and putting them back out in society, and then we hold them accountable for their actions. So then I went to work for the Flagler County Jail, of course, and I saw the same thing there, where we were trying to help people get back on their feet. So here, fast forward, of course, to your sheriff here in St. Johns County, and listen, we've all been knocked down, me included. And with that being said, we can't forget that the times we got knocked down, who got us back up, and how we got back up on our feet, and how people responded. So here I am now, of course, I love that. Matter of fact, I was at Marion County Jail yesterday. They have a population of 1,600 inmates in that jail. I'm at 431.
Holy guacamole.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And
What are they doing over there?
Their population for their county is 375, mine is 300. I don't know.
Oh, they need church.
Wow.
Well, anyways, you also get that inner county or interstate stuff too, where there's no ocean. I'm just saying.
Okay.
Right.
Now I understand.
It's kind of population.
Picture.
Yeah,
I got you
kind of
now.
population kind of driven. So again, it's just me just kind of doing what I feel good about. I feel better at the end of the daytime when we're getting people back on their feet. I'm not afraid to walk anywhere in St. Johns County and walk into a restaurant and talk to a person that's served time in my jail or has done something wrong where they people kick you when you're down.
Absolutely.
And I'm not a fan of kicking when you're down. I like helping you get back up when you're down, because people helped me get back up when I was down. So that's what it's personal. And you see that what happens. Your recidivism is lower. 2.5 years, 3 years now, over 3 years now as your sheriff. The recidivism is down almost 10%.
Yeah.
Our reentry program is so robust. There's nothing we say no to. Anybody wants to partner up with us. As a matter of fact, we just had Department of Justice here the other day looking at our program saying, what are you guys doing here?
Really?
Department of Justice and University of Florida came here to study our program.
Wow.
To say, what are you guys doing here different? But then it became a better relationship with the city of St. Augustine and reaching out to the homeless. I mean, of course, you're downtown all the time, but going downtown and going, okay, we can't just do a revolving door here. It's not going to help the purpose. So we partnered up with Sergeant Garman. Sergeant Garman got promoted and put downtown in charge of the bike unit in downtown. And we started identifying those prolific people, but not just get them in here. But
another great athlete that's come out of St. Augustine.
by far, Brittany Garman.
Just amazing basketball player.
And she used to whoop up on all the dudes playing basketball.
she's
I
amazing
mean,
basketball player.
She's on SWAT.
Yeah.
But and then our reunification program, where we started finding where are you from? Well, I'm from, wherever, Oregon. Okay, what do you have there? Well, I have family, I have friends. I just can't get back there. I can't afford to get back there. And your addiction is here. So we started doing a reunification program. We're well over 160 people now within just the last year of getting them back to their families and friends. And 2 have returned out of 160. And out of 160 were homeless.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
I mean, it was
That's
not like,
significant.
and I always use this analogy, but this is just being, kind of funny. But this isn't the DeSantis put him on a plane in Martha's Vineyard.
Right.
This is us putting him on a plane and resources on the opposite end of where you came from. That
Right.
can help
There's
you get
help
back
on
on
the
your
other
feet.
side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a story here too. I'd love to bring him in here, but this guy now, who got arrested two, three times here, he's now one of the top agents for New York life insurance.
Really?
Yeah, he comes
Find
in.
your purpose.
He comes in. It's kind of funny. I say he dressed like Davey. He comes in tie, suit, comes in our agency, brings donuts and stuff in there and coffee, and said, "Thank you for helping me." And he's the guy who ran to the hallway going, "What is your story and why are you in here?"
Yeah.
I make mistakes in life. I got an addiction problem, an alcohol problem. Good.
When you started talking about this about a year ago, you said a famous quote to me that stuck to me. You said you are not your failures. Your failures lead to your successes.
I have to agree with you.
And I think that I think that resonated with me because I think that we have to appreciate the times that we fall on our butts and
I
be
agree.
able to just get up by ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not looking for the resource of other people. We did it by ourselves. And I think
I
that
totally
human
agree.
being got buy-in on his life and said, you know what? I can make a difference. I can do something different than the usual mundane thing. So yeah, hats off on this program. I think it's really important.
We live in such a house of glass, I'm telling you. Me
Yeah.
included too as well. People
man.
think because I wear this uniform that this kid was just this perfect kid through his entire life. It's wrong. You're wrong. I live
I know
life.
different.
Yeah, true. you do, my friend. but I live life. And again, I had those people that helped me to get back on my feet and didn't look at those mistakes we made in life, and got back on my feet and did things. And now I can go, I've been there. My wife, the other day, I talked to a young couple that works for me, and we were talking about, they said I made a comment about WIC. And I noticed that they knew what WIC meant. Well, women, infant, and children, you wouldn't know what that meant unless you're on it. Well, we were on WIC. My wife and I got WIC every Friday at Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and we got free egg, cheese, bread, and milk. I'm not embarrassed to say that.
Right, yeah.
I mean, we had to survive. And I mean, soldiers, I mean, we can fight for your country and you can do all these things, but you couldn't come back and afford to live in the post with your families. Right. Yeah.
And that gave you empathy. I mean, I think you also understand people's stories, seeing the full story.
Humanizes you, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I agree. So I feel like I'm not going to look at people, and people get in these positions right here and they forget where they came from, to include you were at the bottom of the rank one time as a deputy sheriff, not knowing what even the word statute meant. And then now you're at the top and you forget where you came from. Well, I love my troops. You know, my heart is with the people that are the nuts and bolts behind the St. Johns County Sheriff's Office. And I think it shows. I mean, it's real, it's legit. And if this life takes me somewhere else, meaning that if the people don't put me back here as another term, then life will move on with me. I don't get knocked down and never get back up again. I get back
you'll
up
still
and
be
I
in the
drive on.
trenches with all of us.
I'll be here I'm coming on board here.
Yeah.
You offer me $10 a year.
Yeah.
That's right. That's all we can pay people. Jeez.
He's getting a raise.
Self-donated. I'm going to pay myself $10. Yeah.
All right, and I want to take this opportunity to say thank you to your detective team. And can you just brag about like how technology has changed over the last 15 years?
Yeah.
I mean, some of the stuff that these guys were doing in the investigation I was involved in.
Yeah.
I mean, Kyle Cubbage was just
that team's amazing.
There all the time for us. And just talk about like some of the technology and the changes of just IDing people in cars and stuff like that.
Sure.
And what these guys do on a regular basis.
One thing I was going to talk about too, and there's a couple of good cases we've had with the same unit too as well. And I don't want to just spotlight that unit. It just happens that there's a lot of good cases going on with that unit. But these cases are so complex because we add these media devices in there too as well. And now we're adding in something else called AI, as you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's all these other parameters out there that we have to, the variables that are making it more and more difficult. Some of this, I'll tell you, is a little bit of old-fashioned police work. And that's what kind of is in Sergeant Cubbage's, unit in the property crimes unit, which is what we're talking about, of course, with your case. But with that being said, I mean, we're taking that and then we're using modern technology policing behind the keyboards. We're not blasting this out on, live PD and these stupid TV shows. Yeah. We blast it out to our community because we're proud of it. And we want our community to know that we do technology-based policing in here. We do not, we don't abuse it, and our community knows that. We don't use it for these silly cases. We use it for these violent cases and these felony cases, where we use license plate readers, where we watch cameras and kind of, where we hone in on maybe a Circle K camera system that we can kind of see a car going by. These partnerships we're sharing with businesses in St. Johns County where we can see their cameras, Ring doorbell, I say Ring, but there's a million types of different cameras out there where communities will reach out saying, hey, I have camera footage. So that being said, again, it's using all that technology, working side by side with our real-time intelligence center, and honestly, just a little bit of boots on ground. You'll see recently here last week, and Kendall and I were physically driving back from the University of Florida game on Saturday night. Very brief car chase, but it was our units basically pitted a car that ran from them coming out of Calvin Klein. Multiple thefts were occurring in that area. We pitted the car. The driver took off running. We didn't get the driver at that time, but we secured everybody else in the vehicle. They ran into the fence there by the Adam and Eve store right across the street there by Stable.
Okay, that was their research.
Yeah. So we had a canine track and stuff. Well, we don't give up. They committed 30 crimes of the same. I'm sorry, that's another case I'm going to type out. But they were another bunch of, career criminals, prolific criminals. Yeah. They came to St. Johns County in the wrong time, wrong place. So our people set up in the area, they won't give up. They know that suspect is in the area. Next thing you know, he pops out of Waffle House, gets into a car. We take that car down. They're all lined for warrants. We get our suspect. He's still muddy from the foot chase. It's modern policing. It's old-fashioned policing. And it's a community that's not afraid to call us and go, hey, a guy just walked out of Waffle House that's all muddy with no shirt on and no shoes. Yeah. Okay. I mean, our people aren't afraid to call us.
Actually, Waffle House, that's not that unusual.
Good enough.
No shoes, no shirt, no service. That's a good point, actually.
I talked about Waffle House. I talked about another case real quick. So Pilot Truck Stop up there on 210 had a significant robbery based on, the circumstances of the case. 3 suspects, one's in a car, 2 come inside. They end up pushing the clerk down. The clerk actually has serious bodily injury done to her. No. They go behind the counter, they rob behind the counter. Long story short, of course, course, they get away that night, and we go to work using modern technology-based policing, surveillance, just doing a little bit of good old-fashioned policing. They had committed 30 crimes since September 2023, all the way up until January 11th when we started working the case.
Wow.
And they, so
Over
you talk
4
about
months.
30 cases, how many victims, for goodness sakes?
Really?
But they came out of Jacksonville. They'd done these thefts,
Typical.
these robberies all around the area, not in St. Johns County. Our men and women just put the head down and solve this case, and they're all in custody. And they want confessions. Like, hey, admit to your crime. Own up to your accountability in life, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Got confessions, all in
Bam.
custody.
Wow.
30 cases solved.
Wow.
That's
Yeah.
a big deal.
Yeah. Good
That's
stuff.
a big
Do
deal.
you guys ever
Amazing.
get fussy that you have to clean up a lot of their dirty laundry up there in Duval?
We're a suburban of Duval. I think, let's just face it.
Okay.
We're a suburban of Duval County. We have a great partnership, of course, with Duval County Sheriff's Office.
Good,
TK
okay.
Waters is a very, very close friend of mine. We share intelligence. Unfortunately, we share suspects, just the way it is.
Yeah.
And with that being said, no, I feel that we're very vulnerable. I mean, look at the picture of St. Johns County and who we are and what we represent down here. And stores on 95, Felony Lane. We're just we're a crime of opportunity, and we're accessible, but not on our watch.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, don't come here.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Don't steal from an outlet. How cheap can you be? I mean, like, come on, it's already discounted enough.
Because other parts of the country, it's non-respondable by law enforcement.
Right.
There's parts
Right.
of this country where law
Right.
enforcement will not respond
They're like, that's highway
to
patrol.
a
Right.
retail theft. No.
Yeah.
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 But so I feel like other people are going to keep testing these waters, going, let's go try St. Johns County.
So dopey.
Yeah, get out of it.
Come on, we'll get them all. We'll
Yeah.
lock them all up.
Let God sort them out.
There you
God
go.
bless you.
There you go.